Good evening, free enterprise fans, and welcome to another exciting Monday night race, a special Monday night race as we unveil the flags for the upcoming LaliHo League Swiss rounds. My name's Vitasia. I'm joined tonight by Evelyn. How are we doing tonight, Ev?
I'm doing pretty great, actually. It's been a while, so I'm glad to get back into it once more. Catching all kinds of neat things here in this flag set that we got. Could you tell us a little bit more about this for the folks at home?
Absolutely. So the 2021 LaliHo League is just another one of our tournaments, leagues that we do here at Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. All of the details are available over at our Free Enterprise Workshop Discord. So if you haven't signed up for that, please go ahead and sign up. We have, to date, 91 entrants into this LaliHo League. And really what it comes down to is if we can get up to 97, I believe, is it? 97. There will be 6 rounds of Swiss. However, if no one else joins, we'll be sitting at 5 rounds of Swiss. These are one-on-one matches where you're not racing a large group of people, you're racing one other person. And you're consistently matched up with people who are about in your same kind of point bracket as you go. And then those people who make it to the top, who have as many points as you need to advance, depending on how many rounds of Swiss we end up having. We move on to the bracket stage of the full tournament. So what we're doing tonight is showcasing the flag set that is going to be in the Swiss rounds of the LaliHo League tournament. And what those flags are, primarily, I mean, people look at the objectives and how to go. There are 5 objectives always. 2 of them are going to be randomized. 3 of them are going to be static. We will always have Coco Forge the Legend Sword of the Adamant. We will always have Trade Away the Pigtail. And we will always have Complete Cave Magnus for those music fans out there. The other 2 objectives are going to be randomized, and they are only going to be boss hunts or character hunts. They're not going to be any of the quests similar to how we saw in the Highway to the Freemastone tournament last year. So boss hunts are a little bit trickier. They're very similar to how we're going around hunting for D-Machine. You just got to find the right boss. In this case, for this flag set, defeat Milo Z. That's the boss hunt there. And then get Fusoya. I mean, that would be a fantastic get regardless at this point in time, but know that Fusoya is out there.
Yeah, the fact that Fusoya is required is going to be quite a nice boon for our contestants tonight. He starts off a little weaker, but then as you continue to complete bosses, he unlocks more HP, gets some more spells, and eventually you got yourself what is essentially a buffed Tella with some better magic stats and capability of equipping a lot of the same things that Tella can do, plus a bit more, getting some of the some of the bows and things like that if you needed Fu to go ahead and deal some physical damage for you.
Ninja Debugger asked, how many of the 5 have to be done? 4 of the 5 have to be completed. So you do not have to complete all 5 of the objectives in order for the game to bestow upon you the crystal. The crystal only requires 4 out of the 5 to be completed. So even though we have a lot of opportunity to get that Cave Magnus with the music randomization that we've built into it, that may not necessarily be the most efficient route. So you can't bank on that through that entire time. There's some other kind of spicy flags that are involved in this particular flag set, owing to the 4.2 patch of the Free Enterprise randomizer that has been released. Some of the spicier flags that are out there that really kind of put a wrench into some standard techniques that we have developed as a community. Things like the characters are going to start with basic random equipment. The starting equipment is not going to necessarily be the same as you get for the vanilla characters. Additionally, there's 2 interesting flags that play off each other. There's no low-level XP boost. It used to be that if you had a character that was at least 5 levels below the average party, you could, in effect, what's called slingshot them, get them extra bonus experience, and really get characters that are super low level and slingshot them up to a higher level with a single or a couple really good fights. That's been disabled in this particular flag set. There's no XP bonuses if a single character is significantly lower level. The second flag that I just absolutely love is a vanilla giant flag. A very popular technique for a lot of these runners is what's called a D machine grind. Is as soon as you dive into the giant of Babel, you try to set up a certain fight for the D machine where you can kill it over and over and over and get lots of experience very, very quickly. However, that strategy requires being able to back out of the giant quickly. With this flag turned on, if you enter the giant, you're stuck. You have to complete it all, and that's not necessarily the most efficient way to go about these sorts of things. So with those two combinations, it's going to be really interesting here.
It might not also be the worst thing in the world either, because, you know, a lot of the enemies, if you were to try to go for that D machine grind, you have some tents or some cabins on you. That's a nice little full heal alongside a lot of levels before taking on the big bad boss, which can also bestow you with quite a bit of XP as well. It is also a character check, which is, you know, it's pretty nice. Could end up getting you that Fasoya that you need in the case of this seed, or any other character that you might need for some other flag set later on. Before we stray away too far from it, I do want to mention that if you're looking to get into the LaliHo League, you just go ahead and join the Discord, and everything is right there, nice and neatly organized for your convenience. Trying to get to that 97 contestant count for some extra Final Fantasy IV free Enterprise.
I mean, if you haven't signed up yet, I've just got to ask, what are you doing with your life? What are you doing over here? And meanwhile, it does look like we are off, and we do have a tele-start with these folks, along with a Young.
And when you say that, just for clarification's sake, when you say that there are some randomized basic equipment for the characters to get started with, does that mean that it could possibly be better, or are we looking at strictly downgrades here for all the characters?
I don't know if it's strictly downgrades, but they're all going to be low-level equipment. You're not going to magically find an edge with Masamune already equipped on it. There's going to be largely low-level items that they're going to come equipped with. It's limited gear that they can equip. Now, I haven't played around with this particular flag a whole lot, so I don't even know what's possible personally, but it's going to be low-level. Don't expect to get something and be able to start mowing things down right away.
A couple of really interesting ideas in the comments here, or in the chat here, saying Thunderclaws on Yang being a straight improvement, which is correct. And speaking of Thunderclaws, Moonblaze Wolf just found one inside of the Baron Inn, right, or Baron shop right there. No, it was the inn. And Dark Knight Cecil starting with a Black Sword. I don't know if that's quite possible, because the Black Sword is the highest level item there. So, but because there's only 3 or 4 swords for Dark Knight Cecil, that could be something interesting to think about. A Strength Ring inside the underground passageway is a pretty nice pickup as well for that Yang.
As well as a Cursed Ring as well. We did see Rosa that's available. Now, one of the things that was turned on is the Dwarf Kit was also turned on. So we have a free Wizard Hat, a free Wizard Robe, a Dwarf Axe, and a Strength Ring already in our equipment. So, you know, some of the hesitancy of getting maybe a Cecil or a Kane, those heavier armored fighters, might be diminished because we already have that Dwarf Axe that's sitting there waiting to be used.
A very easy back row glitch.
Oh, and the 10 rings, our wonderful tracker Twisted Flax wanted to make sure I get that in.
The 10 rune rings? Was that?
I believe so, yes, it is. Was there 10 rune rings? I thought I saw it somewhere.
Our friend Twisted Flax in the chat is mentioning that there were 10 rune rings at some point, which would lead to quite a lot of financial gain for our runners here on this one tonight. Finding a cane on top of Mount Hobbs is quite the pickup, especially for the equipment that we've seen so far. Not only with that Dwarf Axe inside of the starter kit there, but also if he perhaps would like to put some kind of strength ring or some other kinds of equipment to boost Kane's attack power a little bit more. It's a very worthwhile pickup for a physical fighter to go alongside that Yang.
Absolutely. So we saw Pancrase and Dr. Cossack go ahead and full clear everything in the watery pass right there. This is the way the treasure chests are weighted. It's very similar to Remus Zone Tournament, where places that are out of the way generally have better treasure in that. So they went ahead and full cleared it out, and with the starting teller, they can exit out. Meanwhile, Mechalink has been more diversified and checking some other things, and he's getting his cane right away. Cossack is over here going ahead and doing the Antlion Pig right away, while Pancrase is clearing out the Damsian Castle, and it does look like Moonblaze Wolf is continuing on, going to finish clearing out the watery pass as well.
And clearing out the watery pass certainly seems the way to go, checking on some of the equipment that they've been finding in here, finding a black robe as well as a power staff for the Fusoya there should increase his magical stats by quite a bit, making him a pretty formidable magical caster once Ordeals has been completed.
Yang was completely naked with that, and Tella only had a rod. Wow, okay.
Yeah, and Kane only had a knife. He had a silver dagger, and that was all that she wrote for him. So.
I mean, on one hand, I'm happy that I don't have to worry about all that extra iron jump equipment.
But on the other hand, it could end up leading to some accidental high rolls, as well as some low rolls on the damage or some of the lower level items. Not having any claws on Yang for the elemental boost either is can be a little bit of a downfall, depending on the kind of fights that you find yourself getting into for some of those early bosses to try to maybe get some characters or some key items.
Mechalink did finish clearing out Mount Hobbs, and he found a glass helmet, which is kind of an interesting pickup. It gives absolutely zero magic resist, but it has fantastic physical resist. So putting that on a high HP character like Yang, or even like a back row Cecil so he can cover, is a fantastic strategy. It's a very interesting piece of equipment that has some niche uses.
Yeah, the glass helmet itself is an item that typically is pretty sought after, especially in the early game when a lot of the more punchy bosses that can be in some terrifying spots, the damage can be alleviated a little bit via putting that on top of maybe your white mage so that she can get some guaranteed heals off, or maybe putting it on like you had said, the Cecil, to keep those people covered up. The other big use for it is that it really helps characters, like you said, with a lot of HP, but if I'm not mistaken, it also sells for quite a bit of money as well if you need to do some extra equipment farming and you're getting close to fighting Z.
No, absolutely. And the glass helm, almost everything Z, in fact, everything Z does is magic based, so it's just a worthless piece of equipment if you're setting up for the end fight.
Glass traditionally is physically resilient, says Firebird.
I mean, when done right, yeah.
That is true. There's a lot of... Put enough layers of glass on top of something and it's bound to resist a lot, especially with a little bit of reinforcement. But I don't know how they want you to imagine the glass helmet looking, because I don't remember ever seeing it in any later versions of the game, at least not with that translation. So if there is some sort of physical representation of it, I would like to see that.
In the meantime, we see both Pancrase and Moonblaze Wolf now going up, going to grab their cane, their treacherous Dragoon right now. Meanwhile, Mechalink is finishing off the Dark Imps. We did get a pass from this Dark Imps fight, which is nice, but doesn't really lead us in any direction right now. So we'd like to see something else pop up here directly. No real guidance. The Luca key, okay, we got that to start. Nothing out of this particular cave. So I imagine one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to head over to Kabul and go ahead and dive that, or we might see someone try to bait that for a little bit and immediately go to Mount Ordeals.
I definitely think Ordeals would probably be the play here. Even without the the free characters and the not guaranteed Cecil, I think with the items that were found in the Watery Pass, that Tella is definitely going to be able to benefit a lot from heading up to Ordeals and unlocking the rest of his spells, because so far he's pretty much the only source of magic damage that we've seen, other than, you know, a Rosa, who can't really cast much by way of magic damage until the much higher levels. Maybe there was somebody in the Kaipo, the Sand Ruby spot that we haven't seen yet. But yeah, for right now, Tella's the only person that's going to be able to cast anything, you know, remotely damaging as far as magical is concerned.
Yeah, you do see several of our runners here that are checking things like the Watery Pass in the Mist Cave. In addition to hunting for, of course, the D-Mist, you know, we do have a boss hunt objective in finding Mylan Z, so it kind of behooves us to doubly check everything at this point in time. You know, different runners at different point in times have different strategies for whether or not you're going to check some of these out-of-the-way boss locations. When you have a boss hunt that's integrated into the objectives, it just incentivizes these one-off checks that much more.
Looks like, just checking some of the other boss spots here. We do find Mylan Z.
So Mylan Z is hiding in the Mist Cave. None of our other runners have checked that. We've seen some people check the waterfall in the Watery Pass, but they haven't checked Mylan Z, and that's an objective. So Mecha Link, first one with an objective down, objective 4.
Yeah, that's a very, 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 very good, not pickup, I should say, but a very good boss to find early on. Being part of one of the objectives, getting that cleared out within the first, we're not even 10 minutes into this run yet, and he's already got one of these objectives completed. That's a very good bit of luck there, I suppose. You know, just some quick check to the Mist Cave, just checking who it is, and oh, it's a boss that I need to kill. That's nice.
Meanwhile, Pancraz and Dr. Cossack are doing almost synced Fabul defend sections. So we'll see what kind of boss and key item is available here. I think they have the levels to be able to do it, not a problem. It is a Vivalis, so this is interesting because the way the rules are set up, our intended path to the underworld cannot be hidden behind a Vivalis.
Yes, which means that this is probably going to result in some other key item that might be useful, like a Twin Harp would be a nice thing to see for the runners here, because that completes one of the objectives. A Pink Tail would do relatively the same thing, but we're not going to be finding a hook or a magma key after this fight, because, you know, can't get underground access via this particular boss. So,
but we can. It's just not our intended way. So
right, it's not. Yeah. It's not guaranteed, but the option is there, but it's more than likely going to be something else. Although I suppose there is the random chance that it could just be.
This, as Twisted Flax is saying in chat, this is a terrible spot for Vivalas. Our runners are kind of having some issues here doing any significant damage. Okay, Pancraz gets him down. Meanwhile, Mechaling finds
Dr. Costa getting a couple really good hits in there with that cane and the Yang as well. Needs to heal that Kang up, or that Yang up though, because it looks like he's not going to be alive very much longer with that paralysis. Petrification. It's a rat tail.
I mean, all right, I guess.
It's another key item. It's a key item you trade in for something else. It basically takes one off of your total key item list, and you know that it won't be anywhere else, and getting a rat tail out of Fabul isn't the worst thing in the world.
I mean, it's just a fetch quest. You know, it's not exciting. It's just, oh, well. Okay.
And they know they're going to be needing the hook at some point anyways, so there certainly could have been worse things, you know, like finding an earth crystal maybe, having to go through an entire another dungeon just to get your next key item.
Cossack gets through that, so he's going to get his rat tail. Meanwhile, Pancraz is setting himself up to go ahead and climb Mount Ordeals. Mecha Link is still grinding away at this Mylan fight over here. It's a little bit difficult. It's a relative high HP HP spot, but it's split over all of these enemies, so it's really pretty doable right now.
Getting close to seeing who our first boss is here at the top of Mount Ordeals. We have Mecha Link in the bottom right, still just grinding away at that Mylon fight. Looks like we're taking another dive into the Baron End here, getting those same 3 items that we've been seeing, followed by a Thunder Claw, which is a very, very good piece for Yang, which is, you know, at this point pretty common knowledge, I think, within the community. Love to see the Thunder Claw on that Yang.
Meanwhile, bonus round, this is actually fantastic news for every single one of our runners. If they go up Mount Ordeals, they're going to run into D-Mist. D-Mist is going to push them towards Mist to be able to check what Rydia's mother has for us, and while they're there, they're going to check the Mist Cave, just because it's right there, and get the Mylons. This is actually, not as good. Mecha Link was kind of, at this point, even though he doesn't know it, was banking on everyone fading that spot. Gets a Bahamut summon, no Rydia, that's too bad. But
a lot of money.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of money. But he does get his White Mage. Mecha Link was probably counting or hoping that people would be fading that. It's not going to work, so everyone's going to get that Mylon Z pretty quickly. And I think Mecha Link, as soon as he goes up Mount Ordeals, he'll make that realization as well.
Lots of talk about making money here. I should go ahead and mention that because we're using the Swiss flags here, items are going to be selling at about a quarter of their normal price. But even so, those summons sell for quite a bit normally, so we'll see how much it sells for in just a second here.
And everyone loves this particular setup that Pancraz is showing us. The kick around the world. This is an interesting visual glitch that when you're in the karate fight and he kicks, he will be kicking around the world.
And yep, and there it is. Because, he's not supposed to show up from the back. He only shows up from the front. So, interesting piece when his kick decides to go towards the direction of where the party normally should be. But then he decides halfway through, oh, can't quit now. I'm already going this way. And he just travels that globe to try to get the hit in on your party.
And the fact that he gets it is more so the case.
And he's doing it pretty consistently, too.
Mecha Link now with his fresh White Mage in tow. Got that Bahamut summon, so he's got to come back and is going to be doing the Kabul defend and then down to Mount Ordeals. He'll be kind of right there. It seems like we're getting to a bottleneck where it's going to be either the Mist Dragon turn in or whatever's up here on Mount Ordeals is going to have kind of the key to the next phase of this race.
Oh yeah, and there could even be a situation where they don't think to, they find something so good on top of Mount Ordeals that it just leads them away from the Mist key item for a little bit, and they don't come back to it till later, which means that we might not see Mylon Z getting defeated by everybody for quite a while, depending on how these routes go as well. It all comes down to the key items, though, as it does with most runs.
Magma Key.
Yeah, that would do it.
that would do it. This will be interesting. I want to see what these runners end up doing immediately now, because it really could be interesting. If there's anything that would draw them away from Mist Village, getting that Magma Key and saying, I can go underground now, that would do it. But man, oh man, that would be a mistake.
Yeah, we know, look on the outside looking in that Mist Cave is all but required, depending on how later on some of these objectives are completable. But for some of these runners here, getting that Magma Key early on, they're thinking, ooh, I might be ahead, deciding to take this trek up Mount Ordeals.
And that's kind of the thought process that you have to go through with every decision that you make. You can't do everything. In order to win a race, especially a large group race like this, you have to skip something. You have to risk something somewhere, typically. And you got to wonder, is that something that these guys are going to skip? It's like, hey, okay, I can go underground. I'm going underground.
Yeah, and heading underground, first chance you get, sometimes ends up being the better option, especially if you haven't done Fabul yet, because then you can go ahead and check in on what you might need to be doing down there in the underworld, and then you come back and turns out you have the pans. So now you can just clear all 3 things in Fabul, nice and easy. But in this kind of situation, there's some other things to check out above ground for a little bit, so why not find a spoon in mist?
Yeah, that was poor woman dying there on the grass, and the only thing she's clutching is her spoon.
There's a pretty sad narrative that could be said there because we don't know where Rydia is, so.
Yeah, where are you, Rydia? Pancras is checking the mist cave. He will be very, very happy he did so, because this is effectively a free objective.
Oh yeah, he's getting this done way, not way later, I should say, but about 10 minutes later than Mecha Link went ahead and did it, and it kind of shows because he just sort of one-shot Mylon and walked out of the cave, so.
He's like, oh, okay, I'm good.
He never saw it coming. Awesome.
Mecha Link. Yep.
You go ahead. I was just gonna tell a joke. It's fine.
Yeah, they're. Oh my goodness, chat's having too much fun right now.
Yeah, come on, guy. It's a one-off joke about a spoon.
Like, you don't think I don't put this much thought into my jokes. It just kind of comes off the top of my head, and sometimes I have to pull it back. Like, no, that wasn't what I wanted to say.
You want me to talk about how it's like, he was gonna make Rydia's birthday, or she was gonna make Rydia's birthday cake, but the D-Miss was fallen, so the last thing she had in her hand was the spoon to mix the batter, and she doesn't even know where Rydia is. Oh no! Oh no! Let's find out. Let's find out what Pancras is gonna do about this fight.
I mean, Ninja Debugger has a point. If it's a wooden spoon, and it's a mother holding a wooden spoon, I don't know about you guys, but I got bapped on the head a couple times with a wooden spoon when I was a kid.
That's what. That's the wrong mom, though. At least if we're talking about Final Fantasy terms, because the what's her name? Sheila bonks Ursula on the head in the after years with a wooden ladle, and or a wooden spoon, and that's like her version of Yang's pan. That's, get up in the morning, whack, or I guess took.
I mean, whatever it takes. Meanwhile, we have Moonblaze checking out Village Mist. We'll see what Moonblaze decides to do. Mecha Link and Dr. Caustic are finishing up Mount Ordeals right now. Pancras just got his Rosa at this point. So Pancras has actually cleared just about everything that we can do in this overworld. Moonblaze is going to find his Mylan Z. Pancras, I'm ready to say, is going to be the first one to the underground.
Yeah, and with this kind of seed, it's actually kind of hard not to clear out the entire overworld, because once you get the magma key, or at least, in our runner's case, it could be different for some people, but in the case of our runners, you find the magma key so late in the overworld, you might as well clear out the rest of it. Just make sure there's nothing that you miss, because you already did the Fabul Gauntlet, you already checked pretty much everywhere else that there is to see. Go ahead and do one or last 2 double checks before making your way underground. Just clear the entire thing out so you don't miss anything. And if you have to come back to the overworld, it's strictly out of necessity, It's a nice way to sort of cover your tracks that way.
All right, so Pancras and Moonblaze Wolf have both gotten Mylan Z, as well as Mecha Link. Mecha Link is going to be the last one to get the Magma Key, so I got to imagine he'll be right there. Caustic, we'll see if he goes and turns in D-Mist. He's the only one that does not yet have the turn-in for Mylan Z as well. So I'll be really interested to watch Dr. Caustic, what he does. And then Pancras and Moonblaze Wolf are both heading to the underground almost at the same time.
Yeah, when you say almost at the same time too, it's like probably 10 seconds apart. All I gotta do is wait for the scene, and then they'll be both down there. We just gotta find out what each person's gonna be doing first. And it looks like Pancraz is making his way to the Dwarf Castle.
Not a bad start. I don't know if he quite has the levels to take on the boss here. It would be kind of a slog, but worth checking at least the shops here, and then
And finding sirens in the shops is a very worthwhile thing.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm good.
Oh yeah,
sell what you can.
Selling off every possible thing, clearing out everything, including that kitchen sink, because who needs it? We got ourselves a bunch of sirens. We're gonna crack open some eggs, have ourselves some omelets. Who needs a sink when we got a frying pan? Not the greatest analogy I understand for a siren, but it's the point is we're making omelets.
We will be making omelets, and it'll be just enough to be able to get through. We've already got Tella, who can cast Weak on the egg before doing anything else.
Rune Axe plus the Gungnir Spear inside the dwarf. This is some pretty good shops as well. Finding some heroin armor, all kinds of good things inside the Dwarf Castle shops to be found.
Was that a crystal sword in the pot? No, that was a crystal. It was a piece of crystal equipment. I think it was a crystal helm.
Yeah, it was either crystal helm or crystal the gauntlets, one of the two.
Moonblaze is checking Tomra first, and we will have our job dwarf check.
Job dwarf. Let's see what he do. He's a hand and portable tool mechanic. That's nice. That's a worthwhile job. I like that job. Making sure that the people that gotta have screwdrivers and drills are getting their screwdrivers and drills.
Xenocat makes a good point. Crystal swords cannot be found in untrapped. Tier 7 equipment, which, long story short, can be categorized as anything that's best in slot for the final party, cannot be in anything that isn't an untrapped chest. Period. And I know that's oversimplifying what tier 7 stuff is. I get it.
Another way to put it is that anything you can find on the moon, you're not going to be finding inside of a regular old treasure chest. Like moon altar boss items, those aren't going to be found inside of these chests. You gotta clear out a boss or find some other way. You know, maybe this key item chest right here that Moonblaze is going to open up could have something like the adamant. Could have been an adamant, or not an adamant armor, but it could have been like a crystal sword or something like that inside of the key item chest. But you're only finding those in trapped in key item spots, so. Just to offset the balance of power of some of the later items, like finding a white spear for Kane instead of a random chest at this point, the run's over.
Baymart shop has coffins as well, so Moonblaze has found everything, but
that makes grind fighting even easier.
He just hasn't found the sirens yet. So we got sirens. I've seen, we haven't seen any hourglasses though yet.
Thank you, Xenocat, for the list of tier 7 items inside of the chat there. Looks like Pancraz is gonna start cashing out on these egg fights here. Little bit of an interesting play because again we don't have the bonus XP turned on for lower level party members, so if you find somebody like a paladin later on, maybe a black mage that could replace Tella, they're gonna be able to slingshot that character up very far, if at all, because slingshotting mechanics are out the door. But if all they're looking for is a facade around the party, then that's a pretty good layout to have, I think.
It would be, absolutely. Oh, it looks like Dr. Cossack went ahead and is floating and had an hourglass item, so he's going to try to kill these 5 warriors in order to get some experience and a decent piece of gear.
Oh, is this out of one of the trap chests inside the Fey March?
Yep, it is the Fey March trap chest. I see some commentary about the bosses in the Fey March, and unfortunately I missed it. I was looking at other screens.
Yeah, I was checking Pancraz's screen out to see what he was doing with the omelets, and then Dr. Cossack threw a Meteo at a whole bunch of warriors, and now here we are.
Octomom and Odin? Ooh, okay, no.
Octomom and Odin? That's terrible.
he gets a defense sword for his. I mean, that's a fantastic weapon for
Oh, that's a
Kane right
great
there.
piece of equipment. Yeah. That's probably Kane's. Oh, and a white spear inside of another chest. I forget the defense sword. That's not necessarily true. The defense sword is pretty useful for a plethora of reasons. It's a very high damaging item that it keeps a little bit the defense up there, so that when your Kane is going ahead and taking out some of those higher level enemies, he can't get, you know, 1 or 2 shot quite as easily. But if your Kane's gonna be jumping around, might as well give him the spear.
I think that's the original spot of the Avenger sword, not the defense sword, chat.
The defense sword is the defense sword in the warrior chest? I thought the Avenger was the warrior chest and the defense sword was in the Sylph Cave. Am I mistaken about that one?
Yeah, I think the defense sword's in the Sylph Cave. Defense is in warrior chest in the dawn. I got it mixed up then. My fault.
Oh yeah, we got it. We got them backwards, huh? Well, good job, chat. You did it. And actually, now that they mention it, I do remember the Avenger being inside of the Sylph Cave, because I always dump Feymarch first and put that defense sword on Cecil, and then I got really confused when I went to the Sylph Cave and saw the Avenger. I was like, well, what do I do with this thing?
I remember getting the Avenger sword and thinking, oh, this is junk, and ditching it. Not knowing, as I know now, oh, Baby Vita was so dumb.
In the Super Nintendo version, it's definitely it's basically the best item in the game, as long as you have the actual best item in the game with you, right? Because, the Avenger sword glitch, keeping the stats of the previous weapon when you equip it, so if you have something really good equipped and then you put the Avenger sword on, you're perma-berserked for the entire fight with some extra damage on top of the new stats, so.
Yeah, I didn't know that when I was a kid. Pancras has given this a shot, though.
Let's see how he does, or how he does. Using up a silk web, that's a pretty good item. Yeah, I think this is a pretty decent start. Probably gonna go ahead and start casting some other nice spells and things like that to keep the party alive. Seeing an illusion going out on that Kane. Ooh. Zantetsuken's already coming out, so I don't know if it's going to be doable here. But if it goes off before Kane lands, then I think he has a bit of a chance here, because now he can try to time his jumps out for when Odin raises the sword. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, and he does have a Thor raid.
Very good timing on that. Very good timing on that. He does that, yeah, and he does have those couple of Thor rages as well. Might be popping another illusion, unless he only had the one. I don't know if this is going to be enough to do it. He would have, yeah, Thor rage is only 180 damage.
Thunderstruck out. It's the insta-kill. It's the insta-kill mechanic. That's high-level tech right there.
That is some big, that was a big brain play. Oh, Pancras just stole this lead from everybody. Everyone is behind now. Oh, Pancras, that was a beautiful, absolutely stunning play. And now he's skyrocketed ahead of the rest of the crew here.
And everyone in chat is just screaming, Thunderstruck, letting AC/DC just wail on that guitar.
Playing it with cellos only, because we only have a harp, that's all we got.
So Laris, it might have been defense sword plus glass helmet. Because
yes, glass helmet. There, if he did not have the glass helmet and the defense sword, that would have been doing at least like probably 400 a swing, and then without glass helmet, it would have one shot anybody in the party that wasn't wearing it. So, had to have been.
The Sheila 1 item on Moonblaze, it was a white shirt. So Sheila 1 is great.
I was gonna say, give a good piece of armor to Rosa. Although the weird part is now Kane's ahead of the rest of the party as well, because he was the only person living through the end of that fight there. So if I can get a look at what his level is, I can't, because Pancras is just too good at menuing for my slow human eyes.
keep in mind that
Pretty sure
Pancras
it's
is also leveling up a
pretty-
little bit anyway, so.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But I saw Kane was like early 30s. I think everybody else might be late 20s, something like that. But gonna probably have to triple dunk Fabul here, which is not what you want to see. If we find a pan in Cave Magnus, then we gotta go all the way back to the other world, hit Kane in the head with it to wake him up, and then take that back to Sheila. So not so hot on the Fabul piece here.
No. Mecha Link is going to give us our first look into what good old King Gaia is holding in the back of his throne room. So we have Asura for our first boss. Dr. Cossack is right behind us. But of course, Pancras is being everyone's champion right now, giving us the good music.
Yeah, quick dip into Cave Magnus here, and it's going to be a very quick dip because having some level 30 plus characters inside of Cave Magnus is a good way to say Hasta La Vista and Sayonara put together to make one great commentator's flum. Oh my goodness, bump. I'm done.
No, and Berserk Now in chat makes a good point, is if, like right now, this is a great play for Pancras because it's one of the objectives. But if this locks another objective, say there's a pink tail or a hook at this location, absolutely requiring this, it's going to be a little bit before anyone else gets to this point for Pancras. So,
oh yeah, it could easily be another, like, you know, anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes before we see something like that happen, just because there's a lot more places to check, and then there's a lot more leveling that needs done. There's just a lot of different things that got to happen before anyone else takes that shot at the other bosses.
Dr. Cossack loves his swag rocks, by the way. His Tella has casted Medio a couple times.
I mean, he gave the Soma drop to him, and if it's gonna get rid of a boss, you might as well.
Yeah.
Moonblaze is Rosa is getting absolutely kidded now.
Level 10,
Okay.
yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's pause for a second and let DJ Spoon B spin his beats.
So we may listen to some fine after we shut our faces.
And with that, Rubicante does go down. That was, it flashed for just a second, so I wasn't quite sure what the music was. But it was, Baron Key, oh boy.
That's a dive and a half right there.
Yeah, we're diving that almost immediately. Both Dr. Cossack and Mecha Link showed us Avenger Sword was the necklace that was hanging around Luca. So that was
very good item, by the way.
a very good item.
Just got done talking about it earlier, and suddenly it's in their inventory.
Blue Fields from FF4FE. Okay.
Yep. Probably my least played Final Fantasy. I'm sorry to say. I'm also sorry to say that because of that statement, that means that chat can put 2 and 2 together to find out which Final Fantasy I played more than 8, which might upset some of them. But it is, I will say that 8 has probably one of the best soundtracks in the entire series, without a doubt. Man with a Machine Gun and, oh my goodness.
The only good thing to come out of 8 was Triple Triad. I said what I said.
Oh! You're probably right, though. All right. Mega Link got his Yang check out of the way. Gonna go ahead and check Sheila too.
Kalan Dakari asks, are these the only 4 runners? No, this is a community race. These are the 4 highlighted runners. We had something to the tune of 20 plus community members all running the same seed. So these are just the 4 featured runners at this point in time. We'll announce winners of the community race as people end up finishing. And again, this is just the community race. A lot of people are running this because these are the warm-up flags for the whole LaliHo league that is about to start.
Yep. So we only take it's a random assortment of people that volunteer to have their game restreamed, and then a bot goes in and does the math we don't want to and shows us the 4 people we're going to be talking about. It's a very intuitive, very nice system, and it also, you know, lets everybody get in on the fun. A little bit of a lottery draw on top of the fact that, hey, everyone's playing Final Fantasy 4 anyway, so we're all having a great time. J Broom TR, go ahead and saying that we have about 28 racers total. So that's quite a bit, you know.
Oh, yep. Vanilla Bigan, but Pancras is going to have no problem defeating. Meanwhile, Caustic and Mecha Link are doing about the only thing that they know to do right now, to go up Keyless Tower right now. They don't have a lot of good options at this point. It's starting to feel like just about everything is hidden behind this train of events that Pancras is doing at this point.
Ooh, a power gi instead of that chest there, and Baron In is going to make a very, very good item for Kane or Yang, whoever he decides to put him on. But that's a strong piece to just find in a random chest there. It looks like Mage's Sister is the boss that we have inside of the King Baron spot.
Sandy, Cindy, and Mindy, the wonderful Mega Sisters. Meanwhile, we have an evil wall that is sending Dr. Luge to the underworld. This is, I mean, not a bad spot for evil wall, but not a great spot either. Kind of high HP relative.
Yeah, the evil wall is a bit of a tricky pickle to think of, because if he has a lot of HP and you're in for a long fight, well, that's not what you want against the evil wall, because they'll just start crushing all your party members. But if he's in a fast spot, then it's even worse than a tanky spot, because now not only is he hitting you really fast for high amounts of damage, but he'll probably be able to get those insta kills in as well. So Dr. Luge's spot, I believe, having 3 enemies with their own HP pools being combined into the one evil wall is probably going to make this quite a nasty fight.
And hello, Fusoya.
Oh, whoa. Pancras has all 3 objectives done. All he's got to do is crack a few more eggs open, take that pass over to the guy in Troya, and he's got himself a sub-hour Z fight.
Yeah, you need 4 of the objectives complete.
Oh, is it 4? I apologize. I thought it was 3. I read chat earlier. Someone said 3. I got myself confused.
Yeah, 4 or 5. So here's the thing. We have the Adamant. Now, if this is a Legend Sword, yeah, go. But Legend Sword, he has the Adamant. We don't have either the Pink Tail or the Hook to be able to turn that in. So, Earth Crystal.
Earth Crystal? Oh, boy. Bees, I'm not blaming you, I'm blaming me, and said that I was the one who was mistaken. Come on. Why you gotta do me like that for?
Guys, you're missing the point. We blame Solaris because he rolled this.
Yeah, what the heck, Solaris? I'm sorry, I don't mean to scapegoat you like that, Solaris. With an Earth Seed, or not Earth Seed, what the heck? With an Earth Crystal comes the chat's favorite game, Rate That Armory.
Oh, this is true.
He's diving back into the castle. I do think that's a spot before we go ahead and depart over to Troya to check out those treasure chests, which may or may not have some value.
Yeah, it's worth a check because this is a check that's right here. I mean, again, you are one key item away at Pancras. You are a Legend Sword away from being done. So it's worth checking these kind of one-offs that could be real quick. And it looks like it's the elements.
It's elements. The elements have taken up the throne of Odin, who went to the Fey March. Now we just got to find out where Leviathan is. No, wait, we found out where... It wasn't a Leviathan, it was Asura. We know where she is, actually. So yeah, they just played a little bit of musical chairs, found themselves in some weird spots, and I guess they just decided to stick there.
Oh, so the Darkness Crystal was at the top of the tower. Uh-oh.
That's gonna lead our friends here down some very weird paths, but it will get them a lot of levels in the process, so maybe they can hopefully make up some of that lost time. But Pancras has got a ridiculously quick early lead, so it might be a little bit hard to catch up with them if they decide to take this dive.
Got the package. Okay, not what we really want, but...
And he's got a full party with Fusoya as well. Unless he's really, really, really looking to get rid of that Tella, there's no reason to dive that package.
No. And I can't imagine because Tella makes for a great anchor at this point in time. Worth pointing out that we're at 9 key items at Pancras' side. I mean, he's been very, very efficient with his checks.
Yeah, we're at 9 key items, and we're barely ticking past the 45-minute mark. We're getting close to an hour. This man's going to have 10 key items and basically be ready for Z as soon as he gets that last objective done. This is one of Pancras' is probably one of his best runs. Just going off of the pure efficiency factor, so to speak.
Now, this is interesting. Looks like Pancras is going to dive into the Luca Cave. We've had this Luca Key for a long time, so instead of doing the Earth Crystal, instead of continuing to follow it, he's like, hey, let's double check this. If it's the Legend Sword, fantastic. Again, he's looking for those one-offs. Earth Crystal does have quite a few cutscenes that you have to go through in order to get there. This is actually a pretty quick check if you have a save on the outside. And all you're doing is checking the item. You're not doing any more boss hunts. You're not doing anything like that. So it's run in, check the item. If it's something you want, great. If not, reset out. It's a pretty quick check.
Yeah, all he's got to do is run past all this treasure. He can go ahead and take that on the way back up if he so chooses to. This is a very nice foresight, insightful play by Pancras. He hasn't done the Dwarf Castle either. I don't know if we have the warp glitch turned on. It does not look like we have it. So yeah, way to check and see that Luca Cave.
No warp glitch at this point in time, which is perfectly fine. The only glitches that we have turned on are the life glitch and the self glitch. Very, very basic toolkit in that regard.
Let's see, moment of truth here. Is he going to continue back up? It's the Sand Ruby? No, sir.
No, even with 10 key items, he's like, nah, too much of a waste of time, so he can back out now. Go, he might check Dwarf Castle because it's already right here in the underground, but yeah, it looks like he's going to follow that Earth Crystal at this point.
Yeah, in Pancras' situation, it seems like the Earth Crystal is the best choice here because not only does it get you some hopefully sweet, sweet items, but also gets you a few more boss checks out of the way and also gets you that hopefully what is going to be your final key item as well. Whereas Sand Ruby just nets you a character.
Oh, and here comes Rate That Treasury, everyone's favorite new game to play at home.
Rate That Treasury!
Let's see what's inside.
Apple Catclaw Power Shirt. Artemis Arrows. More Artemis Arrows.
This is looking like a absolutely beautiful. Oh, Samurai Arrows headband. This is looking like a very, very beautiful. Oh my goodness, Dragon and Amp Protect. Oh my god, this is the greatest chests I've ever seen.
So this was absolutely a young out of 10%. Considering that we can't get any tier 7 items in regular treasure chests, that's about as good as I can hope to expect. I'm going to give that one kind of a solid 8.5 out of 10.
I think I'll join you on that rating. I saw 7 out of 10 in the chat, and I thought that sounds right. But you know what? 8.5, just considering what the party layout is and how absolutely disgusting it turns some of these party members into. I'd go ahead and say that for this party, yeah, 8 out of 10 sounds right. And a very, very above average treasury for what we got going on. We have a different old man on top of the moon. Just always like, hey, get out of my seat. Or at least he would be if he was in the party.
I know, I'm worried that all of our other runners, I mean, Cossack is up on the moon. He checked it and he's like, okay, no, I'm not. I don't want the Tella per se, but he needed a 5th character so far. It looks like Mecha Link's also going up to the moon. Oh my goodness.
Just like little boy Blue.
No Tritella stress. Yeah, no. No, yes.
Is that a thing? Is Tritella something?
That's the new meta is Tritella. There's something that happens, and yeah. The Doc McFly, yes, there's something to the tune of 28 total racers in this community race. Lots of them are running in the background, but these are the 4 that were randomly chosen to be highlighted.
Unfortunately, nothing good inside of that except for some tents. And it looks like we have D-Lunars at the top of the Tower of Zod. I think this is his first boss, right? This is only the first one he's fought so far?
Yeah, this is the Maga Sisters location. Used a Quake with his Foo, and they immediately started their counter plays. Lots of fire being thrown around. And that's a percentage-based attack too. It's a little bit rough, but gets through it.
Yeah, D-Lunars themselves in that particular spot when the party is this high a level and you got a Fusoya with crazy amounts of pretty good spells. Not too much of a hassle. Pretty easy to just sort of nuke them down and make your way back into that back room there. See who your 2 characters are and then follow up with a nice little key item check. It looks like we have Dark Knight Cecil as Golbez.
We already knew that because of all the checks in Dwarf Castle. We have a Porum that's available. We'll see if Pancras wants to keep his Tella or if he wants to upgrade at some point. Or, hey, Quad Tella stress. Who wants Quad Tellas?
4 Tellas and a Fusoya. Can't tell who's babysitting who. But the Moon Man is probably a lot older than Tella is, so I'm going to say that he's the babysitter in this situation. Not going to take either of these folks. Send them to the Tower of Wishes. We'll call them back later if we need them, but I think they're going to be cheering us on from the sidelines.
Pale Dim. I think Chad is pointing out now is when you will avoid moon bosses because it's like Ogopogo and Wither left.
Have you seen Plague at all?
No, I don't think we've seen Plague either. Yeah, this might be that the only Foo is in Baron. That's the only one we've seen, which is locked behind the Twin Harp, which is at Odin at a really bad Odin at Asura. We still have, Octomom at Leviathan, which is horrible.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Chad. We do have buy on. Huh. I thought that was only for the bracket stage, but I guess you are correct. The Swiss flag set also does have the buy flag as well. We're checking out Cave Value right now on Mecha Link's side. Golbez is the boss there, so I wonder where Bahamut is.
I don't want to I don't want to see Bahamut at the, well, I don't want to really see anything at this point. I'm really just kind of anxious at this point to see when this whole thing is going to get wrapped up. Pancraz going through here, we know that this is not going to be leading him in the right direction.
The item here was the Avenger Sword off of Luca, right?
Yep, the Avenger Sword off of Luca, and then the only other key item, I mean, he can go do Optimum if he wants to clear out all of the Earth before he goes up. But the only place for the Darkness Crystal that he knows is going to be top of tower, which is where it's at, or in Optimum at the other watery boss, Leviathan.
Mecha Link's Kane really does not want Golbez to keep playing. There it is.
Meanwhile, Mecha Lynx is just swinging away at Golbez, doing his best.
We have us a little mini mage there, casting some walls to make sure that Yang doesn't accidentally get bopped by a level 3 spell or something crazy like that. Gonna be casting Life 2, which is something that I don't see very often in stream. Gonna try to lift that Rosa back up so that she can get some of the love here on this Golbez's eventual downfall.
Something interesting, Dr. Cossack is actually fighting the boss, Leviathan, at the sealed cave. So we know this is just the Sand Ruby. Did someone check the Sand Ruby spot? I don't know. I mean, at this point, we know all of the duplicates.
We have not seen the Sand Ruby character yet. However, I don't think none of these runners know where Fusoya is, and I don't know how many people have actually checked. So we might be taking that Sand Ruby as sort of an insurance policy. Maybe he's hoping to find the Fusoya inside of that bed.
That is unfortunate for Dr. Cossack. We know this is a gamble. And sometimes, when you're getting to, especially this point in the race, and you don't know what you're doing yet, this is when things start getting a little bit rough, because you have to start making gambles in order to give you some sort of direction. Unfortunately, we know this isn't the right play for Dr. Cossack at this point.
Blaze, check the Sand Ruby spot. Did we see who the character was? Because I missed it.
Mecha Link finding the pink tail at Golbez at Bahamut. So that
is certainly
one of our two key pieces. Yep, we still need the hook in order to be able to cash that in, which we do not have. Pancraz is going to get his Darkness Crystal. I'm really interested to see what Pancraz decides to do after this.
Yeah, because at this point it seems like he's exhausted options other than going to the moon, so I foresee that he might be trying to take out some of these altar fights, maybe to try to find that last key item. Because I think that our moon bosses have the key items as well.
Moon or Optimum.
Ah, yeah.
Cecil. Cecil was located in bed, so we have a level 1 Cecil.
Level 1 Cecil. I mean, to be fair, he is going to level up quick because he's only at level 1, but he's not going to get that bonus experience, unfortunately. So he might be worth swapping. You know what? When you have two Tellas, you might as well ditch one of them for a Cecil, because at least you get a little bit of value out of the Cecil.
And Cecil has almost no equipment, of course. Starts with a bow, though, and he's got a crystal
He has a
sword
crystal
ready.
sword. Maybe that was why he opted to go for the Sand Ruby. Did he know that he was here? Because I certainly don't remember seeing any of the characters here. So
Yeah, I don't recall.
we do have a Moonveil Berserk. You do bring up a good point. Moonveil could be the other key piece on top of the Avenger Cane to get rid of that Octomam.
Moonveil, of course, one of those key items that, yes, it's similar to a Star Veil in that you have Reflect, but it also increases your something in how you dodge, and I'm not entirely sure how it is, but pretty much you can't die.
It might as well give you permablink for as long as it stays up, because it just ups your agility, or not your agility, but it just ups your physical evasion to be that ridiculously high. Does it also stop Meteo from hitting you, or is that not? Because I know that there's a couple of things that can make you resistant to Meteo.
I think that's one of them. Oh, hello, Ogopogo. How are you?
Yeah, it's a Nope Noodle inside of one of these altar spots. Avenger Cane is probably going to make quick work of all, well, not quick work, but easy work, I should say. Less tedious work than it could be without the Avenger Sword to all of these moon bosses. And also it's going to get some nice XP onto your Yang to get him a little bit of extra XP or HP, as well as making that Rosa viable for the Z fight. So a good bit of everything to go around, taking out these moon bosses.
Ribbon room for Ogopogo, so just one spot off from where he was. Meanwhile, Pankraz is leaving. He's got his Darkness Crystal. What he does next will be key. Dr. Cossack, we'll see where he's at. He's kind of gone on a bit of a rabbit hunt at this point. He does have a Crystal Sword Cecil, which is worth a lot, but I don't know if it's worth enough to get him caught up with some of our other frontrunners.
It looks like Dr. Cossack and Pankraz actually both going to be doing some more of these egg fights. Pankraz doing it more so for the end game. Dr. Cossack, I think, doing this more so to make sure that he's able to get the rest of those objectives finished off here.
Yeah, he's going to use the rest of these sirens. He's got his 10 key items, so this is going to put him in great position for the end game. More than that, I think by doing this level up, it hints to me that he's going to try to get Octobomb done.
Yeah, that could be very well the case. That could very well may be the case, I should say. The Octomam fight requires a little bit more levels because, you know, first off, Octomam is very fast and hits very hard, just as a boss in general, and then the speed goes down as it takes those hits, but it also has a lot of HP in that Leviathan spot, if I'm not mistaken. Unless Leviathan has the less of the two. But I'm pretty sure he's got a little bit more HP than Asura, because she refills herself.
N4, yes, I take for granted sometimes some of the mechanics that are going on. Yes, we have it set up to where, at least in this flag set, as soon as you get 10 key items, the experience for every encounter that you have doubles effectively. So it kind of incentivizes putting off your grind until you get those 10 key items, so you have much fewer bosses that you have to kill, or fewer enemies, or just really a whole lot less grinding. Yeah, and for this Swiss flag set, I think it's worth noting because I admittedly was confused when I took a look at this particular flag set, because when you look at the site and it spits out kind of what the flags are, you will see that it says restore vanilla XP distribution, but that only turns on the flags that are directly below it. Split XP distribution is not turned on. The no low level XP boost is turned on, which effectively means you cannot slingshot characters after if they're below 5 levels of the party average. So a very popular strat was getting like a level 1 Rydia or level 1 Cecil, for example, and then slingshotting them through a machine grind. And they'd gain massive amounts of experience, and all of a sudden you'd have a level 80 Rosa stomping Zeromus.
Yeah, and usually because of due to the nature of the fact that they're getting all that bonus experience on top of what everyone else is getting, it typically is able to pull them way ahead of everyone else in your party, which is why you see those incredibly high levels.
Yeah, so that's been turned off for this particular tournament, which really is going to be interesting to see how people end up running this moving forward, because popular strategies in terms of the D machine grind have been kind of everything that it's almost mandatory to know how to do the D machine grind in every tournament up until this point in time. But this next, the LaliHo League, I don't think that's going to be a viable strat anymore, unless I'm missing something between the no slingshot flag that's turned on and requiring, if you enter the Giant of Babel, to full clear it.
And once again, that is a bit of I say double-edged sword reluctantly because I'm not a big fan of that analogy, but it goes two ways. It's a two-way street. It could be very good for you to go ahead and hit through everything inside of that giant spot, but because, it gives you all the rewards at the end there that are, just generally a good thing to have. But on the other side, it's not a very... it's a point of no return, and if you decide that you need to go back to your previous save, that could be losing a lot of progress for you as well. But of course, I mean, invested time in your initial giant dive.
Meanwhile, Pancras did avoid Octomom, so if Octomom at Leviathan is holding anything, it will be hilarious. Meanwhile, Tower Key is from that Antlion boss.
And the Tower Key is an item that we have not seen quite yet, because no one's gotten it, but we also haven't seen the inside of the Tower of Babel either, aside from maybe, flying over and in front of it, and also maybe taking out Keyless Tower, which got us a key item earlier on. But we have not seen where the key item is from the Tower of Babel itself via the Tower Key. So whatever boss is going to be there is going to be a freebie. You're looking to find a Wyvern in there so you can one-shot it before it does Mega Nuke, if that's even possible, depending on how slow the initial spot is. But if it ends up being some other kind of boss that's not really that big of a deal, then you're still worried about a Wyvern showing up somewhere that is going to be a bit harder to fight.
Oh, absolutely free fight at the Masamune altar. Soldiers with their officer. This is just absolutely lovely to see right here.
Yeah, it's a very good enemy to see, or set of enemies to see, I suppose, in such a high HP spot. Because now they're just going to kind of fight amongst themselves in the confusion if they end up even doing anything, because Kane seems to be getting in more swings than these guys are capable of understanding. And Tella, weakening him up a little bit there so that it takes just a little bit less time for Kane to go ahead and break him down. And there it is. The soldier got rid of his buddy, and now Kane's going to go ahead and seal the deal on that final one, netting him a victory for the Masamune altar. Crystal Gauntlet makes it not very worth it, and I would reset too, Blaze.
That was disappointing. So
well, time to make the way back.
Let's see. The Tower Key could absolutely lead to either the hook or the legend sword. We also are still missing a pan that's out there. Otherwise, those are the only two key items we're missing, right? The pan and
we need either the pan or so we're missing the pan, we're missing the hook, we're missing the legend sword.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we got a sand ruby, we got a pink tail. So all that's missing in terms of our grayed out spots are legend sword, pan, and hook. And the hook will secure an objective for Mecha Link. Not gonna secure any objectives for anybody else. But the legend sword is the main hot item that Pancras is looking for, which, for all we know, could be behind that pan that he's missing too. So lots of opportunity here still. I will say that Pancras has the biggest lead amongst anybody that could be racing right now, unless someone else decided to go for a similar strat that is not being featured right now, in which case, in their case, it is neck and neck. But for right now, Pancras has still got quite a commanding lead because everyone is sort of in the same neutral spot right now, just trying to find out what the next big thing is to dive.
Does someone do Fate March before Tower Key at this point? It depends on if they get the pan. Yeah, it all depends
you
on
could.
if they get the pan.
Crystal Sword Cecil's gonna take very good care of this Antlion. And I think Dr. Cossack actually has two Avengers there going to be going ham. Absolutely. On the on that poor Antlion.
I will say, like, Pancras has a great party setup. My favorite party setup, though, is Dr. Cossack, because, man, you know, you give Crystal Sword Cecil an Avenger with the Kane Avenger, and Young I always think is an underrated melee guy because of his just massive HP pool. Yeah,
scaling damage as well.
Yeah,
the damage scales with his levels. You don't even need to gear him if you don't really feel like it. You can walk into Z level 50 like everybody else and deal just as much damage as Kane with a defense sword. You know, maybe if even better than that, depending on whether or not you were able to like grab a cat claw form or something like that. So
Moonblaze Wolf found the pan at Crystal Sword. So we know, I mean, we haven't done the Murasame altar yet. Oh my goodness.
Interesting thing that I feel like is worth pointing out is that the only objective every single person has done thus far is defeating Mylon Z, which means that our other three runners besides Pancras have not done Cave Magnus, which was, I think, hidden in the Baron Key, and that Baron Key was found via removing Odin from one of the Feymarch spots. So in order to get two of these objectives done, at least to my knowledge, you have to do that fight.
It's true. Yes.
That's a bit. That puts a lot of our runners into a weird situation because they're trying to avoid these fights for as long as possible, or at least, if not as long as possible, at least, you know, until they can deal with it in an easy way. Twin Harp was from Odin.
Yeah, Twin Harp was an Odin. Yeah, Baron Key was the key item there, and Baron Key gave us food. Yeah. Still, okay. I mean, lots locked behind that particular move, Pancras.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the point that I was trying to make is that defeating Odin at the Feymarch is what's going to basically be required in order to defeat this, because I think even if you trade away the pink tail and you forge the legend sword, you still have to do those other two things, and one of them, if not both, well, actually both of them are locked behind that one boss fight, which means that one boss fight is required as well. So we still have a lot of different things that we can see, a lot of different routes that could be taken based on what key items are found. Some people might decide to follow their rabbit holes, and some people might decide to go for those bosses after so long. So I think it's a bit of an interesting run we have all around here. I will be looking forward to exactly how the rest of our runners go ahead and take care of this this situation.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Sylphs give us a weapon for someone that we're never going to see at this point in the seed.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Now moving on to Sheila 2. Legend Sword. That is officially no mode as far as we're concerned.
The Legend Sword getting picked up by Blaze is good for him because now he can go ahead and get that second objective done. But now he's back at square one. Doesn't quite have anywhere to actually go. Not sure what to do. He could be going for some tower key, unless he already did that. Yeah, he did, because that was how he got the pan, wasn't it? No, pan was at Crystal Sword spot, you were saying.
Pan is at Crystal Sword spot. At this point, then, the hook is going to be, in all likelihood, I believe the hook has, I don't know if it has to be, but either Octomom or the Murasame spot.
Right, and I think as soon as Pankraz gets that pan, he's going to be set. There's his pan. We have crystal rings inside of Coco's shop, which is pretty nice. He also gets an Excalibur, which at this point is just kind of a neat looking sword. Don't have an edge to throw it. Don't have a Cecil to use it, unless your name is Dr. Cossack.
Pankraz is going to exit out. Now, the pink tail we know is located over here in Cave Bahamut. We'll see what Pankraz decides to do. He has picked up both the tower key and pan. He could be making a strategic gamble to head on out. Yep. And Mecha Link showed us, was that just nothing?
Moonblade showed us that he was really good at selling things to get a lot of money for some crystal rings, and now I believe he's making his way towards what appears to be, oh, he's going for tower. Okay, so we have not done tower for Moonblaze yet.
Well, he's not done the tower key. We
The
did
key piece.
Yeah.
Masamune for an edge that I don't think we're even gonna see edge unless somebody goes for giant, and even then I think we saw every possible character, right? Unless no, we haven't. We might have like a couple more.
Well, let's see. We've not seen Edge or Palom or
Edward.
Oh, thank goodness, Edward.
Or Rydia.
Or Rydia. No, man, our only black mage is Fu. Yeah, and we saw every dupe, and every dupe was Tella.
So that means we have one more unique character
In the giant that we are not gonna see.
Yeah, there's no way. Oh, Plague is in the tower room. That's nice. Goodbye, Plague. We hardly knew ye. That is true. We don't know package. I forgot about package because no one ever cashes it out. I think it'd still be worth seeing just for curiosity's sake. But if I was in any of these winners' positions, I would have tried to find the last character a long time ago, or the package character, I should say. I would have tried to find that a long time ago if I even had the package to begin with. So.
Meanwhile, Pankraz picks up his legend sword. He is now in go mode. He's just got to turn that in. He's got the levels, so we're going to be on our way to Zeromus very quickly. It is worth noting that no one else in the community race has actually completed the race yet. So, Pankraz...
Still a possibility. Yeah. Pankraz could be our first place winner for tonight's race, which would be neat. Seeing a restreamed racer get in the first place. A hard required package. I think the only situation in which that's possible is if the moon, or not the moon, the Mist Dragon is the fight that is behind the package. And then whatever item Rydia's mom has will do a key item that you need for an objective. Or if the package boss and package kit. That is true as well, yes. If you need to do one of those for an objective. I was thinking in terms of the key item situation, but you are 100% correct. It's already in.
Meanwhile, it was a vanilla hook. It was from the tower key turn-in. So we're turning in both the rat tail, which is going to be nothing.
Oh,
and
nice.
Then, the problem is that pink tail was located up on the moon, wasn't it?
Pink tail, I believe so. Yes, it was behind one of the moon altars. I don't remember which one, but it was in one of the moon bosses. I think it might have been Bahamut. No. Yeah, it was Bahamut. Thank you, Twisted.
Yeah. Okay, so, oof. Meanwhile, Pancraz is, I mean, he's got the levels, so he's set up perfectly fine. So, with the pass, with the pass.
Slot that pass. He's going to swipe his one-way ticket into Zeromus, and he will be coming out the victor, ideally.
And now, finally, I was gonna say, like, chat is not on top of their game tonight. I need it. I was about to be like,
took a second.
what's going on? Go on. So, okay, the question, because we all love randomizing, we cannot randomize Zeromus. So
He's too big.
Yeah, he's too big. He's too unique. You have to set up everything to get it just set up just right at the end. So we swap his palette around. So the question becomes, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
And also, whose butt are we going to throw this crystal at to find out whose butt we're going to kick tonight? That's a question I feel is underrated. Everyone says, whose butt are we kicking tonight? But no one says, whose butt are we throwing the crystal at tonight?
Oh, and Scholar Kitty hasn't updated. We have over 500-ish.
Oh my God, Scholar, you've been on top of it.
Yeah, I used to say over 400 and it made people gasp. Now I'm swooning.
I left my Phoenix down at home. I am at home. I left it in my other house.
Big shout out to Scholar Kitty and all of the other admins for the community who really do a fantastic job curating not only the Zeromus sprites but the new heart music and corralling all of us crazy folk who love to put on these sorts of shows for you guys.
All right, we're any second now. Scholar Kitty's efforts will be showing it. It's the crystal.
Crystalness.
We're throwing the crystal to destroy the crystal. This is the end game of Final Fantasy IV. We're using the crystal to destroy the crystals.
Yeah, dog. I heard you like crystals. So we gave you a crystal to fight a crystal, so you can get the crystal.
I can't believe that the crystal was the real evil all along. It's just using us to exploit the good guy that was Zeromus. Bees, I don't understand that one. I'm sorry.
I do want to give a shout out to Pancraz for his naming scheme. Banana, banana, orange, banana, banana.
Is the Tella saying orange? You glad he didn't say banana?
Maybe it's his own code for, hey, look, anyone that's named Orange can just take a nap in Zeromus.
That might be. Speaking of naming conventions, Moonblaze has all of the characters of Hamilton and some of the song lyrics as his characters.
I do appreciate that, by the way.
I think Mecha Link just has regular silly name modifier distinguisher thingies on, and then Dr. Cossack is going al natural with his naming convention.
Oh, and Moonblaze is doing it. He is on the fight now that he needs to get done. Odin Adasura.
This could be a close one depending on the action economy of the old men here. And I don't mean just Tella and Tella. I also mean Yang as well, because he's getting up there too. At least I think he's the oldest of all the non-old man characters. And there it is.
Goes down, gets a fair chunk of levels. And by the way, here's the twin heart you've been looking for.
Yep, which means we will be getting round 2 of music pretty shortly, I think. Because that seems to be the only other option he's got right now. Oh, he's going for Octoman
Yeah, like, I'm already here. Let's just do this.
for it. Yang is 37. Yeah,
Meanwhile,
that makes him the oldest next to Sid, Tella, and Fusoya, because Kane and Cecil are like 18 to 20.
Yeah, they're youngish. Yeah. Meanwhile, rocks are falling on Pancras's side. And down goes the crystal.
Yep, crack flash, just kidding, no flash because he turned that off. And boom, there goes the crystal, who it turns out was the real villain all along.
Yep, GG's to Pancras, who does finish in first place in our community race with an official time of 1:23.21. GG's to Pancras.
And everyone else is shaking in their boots because nobody was able to get a level 12 or 20 or whatever it was Kane fight on that Odin.
Mecha Link has traded away the Pinktail. As soon as he ends up fighting that fight, he will be in go mode as well, because he will know to complete Cave Magus. He will not have to enter Baron at all. Meanwhile, some of these other runners are going to have to keep following that Baron chain for a little bit longer. This has been just an absolutely fantastic race. I love the variation that these guys ran through with everything, but hey, the key difference is knowing your tech and knowing what it takes to kill Odin at that particular spot, knowing his Thunderstruck weakness, and knowing you were capable of doing it.
As Zeromus falls, it tells us that, you know, in reality, if the crystals are controlling all of nature, truly they are probably the bad guys anyway. Are we going to see if we can get Pancras in here for a late interview?
Yeah, looks like we're figuring that out. Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack is going to be on his way to picking up his hook directly. He will also be able to get the Pinktail turn in. Will still need, I mean, he's done Mylan's 8. The Legend Sword, he got the pan, so if he does the pan turn in as well, I imagine at this point, Dr. Cossack and Mecha Link both will be skipping Fusoya.
Yeah, probably, which is, you know, it's a little unfortunate because it feels bad to get rid of such a good party member, such a good replacement for Tella, depending on the situation that you're in. In the case of Mecha Link, you definitely don't want to have 2 of those boys because that's going to be a hard fight. But at the same time, if it's not worth diving in, it's not worth diving in.
Absolutely. So Mecha Link on that fight right now. And it sounds like we are now joined by ex-Pancras, GG's.
You there, buddy?
Okay, I forgot. I rebound with button as my push to talk.
Oh, well, okay, that'll start to do it.
Yeah, it will. Right thing.
Well, GG's on that win. First on the restream, first in the community race. Walk us through your thoughts going this, you know, kind of the exposition, or the first real like public race of these flags.
Definitely an interesting one with how that Fate March ended up playing. Like you saw me, or the Fu ended up being in Baron Castle we found, but with all of the other character checks, we also found all of the duplicates being Tellos. So hard required Odin at a ceremony makes for a very interesting time.
I gotta ask because I feel like this is a question that doesn't get asked often. How many times have you done that Thunderstruck kill on Odin?
A lot.
Oh, really?
A couple, you know, every now and again.
I see.
Last week I needed to refresh on the Kane version because I hadn't done it in a while. And what do you know? It turns out that it's kind of helpful in this race right here.
Oh yeah, especially with how early on you were able to pull it off as well. That was absolutely crucial.
Oh yeah, 32-ish minute mark, 33, something like that. Like
Yeah,
that
that
fight
was
nasty.
yeah, and that was the difference, honestly, between you and the other racers. Everyone else faded that, or smartly maybe weren't as familiar with those particular strategies, so they kind of went everywhere else and got baited to the moon to go up there and full cleared it, and then had to come back down. And we're still finishing things off. No one's even at zero miss yet.
Yep, you were the first Z. You were the first Z fight, and I think you will be the only Z fight for a very long time, at the very least on the restream. Anyways, I don't know. I can't speak for the community racers because we can't see them. But
I mean,
speaking of community racers, thank you, Dusty Griff, for the rating party of 9.
Yeah, with 29 other people in the race, or 28 other people in the race, I knew I had to take a couple gambles if I wanted to come away. And even if it was a 1v1 race, you have to take a couple gambles in order to come away with a win. And the Odin this time was mine. I'm glad that I had that Thor rage.
Yeah, the Thor rage came in clutch there because that was the the enabler for the Thunderstruck to begin with. But in terms of the routing for this, was there any was there anything going through your head as you were trying to making your way through? You get to that spot and Odin's there and it's a really hard fight and it doesn't really seem like there's much else to do. Was your first thought to go for the Odin kill, or were you just deciding, well, why not? I'm already here.
Both. Like, I hadn't seen him before then. I roll in to town and I see it. I have the Kane and I have a Curse Ring from Watering Path. So, and then there was the Silk Webs for sale in Feymarch that I had just bought one. So I figured, with all of these things lining up so perfectly, if I've got a Thor rage, I might as well do it. And I did. My plan getting underground was to pop a couple sirens, go to Dwarf and do that character check, and then go to Luca because people probably wouldn't be going to Luca immediately. They'd be doing their freebies. Maybe I could pull a Pan out of it, or find an Earth Crystal that gives me 2 chances at a Foo, or something like that. Instead, it's a Sand Ruby, and I check it after doing it. Or instead, there's that Odin just sitting there so tauntingly. And that led me on a whole different goose chase entirely.
How much practice have you gotten in on this particular flag set, knowing that the LaliHo League is coming up right around the corner? I'm sure a lot of us have been doing different practices, but how much have you gotten in, and how much are you looking forward to the next rounds?
I'll start with the second part. I'm very much looking forward to the tournament. Like, I'm excited to see how it goes, how it plays out, and how well I can do myself. I want to try to do at least as well as I did in 3 Miss Zone, which is a big, what's the word? Big shoes to fill, but I will be trying my best to do it. In terms of practice, though, this maybe less than 15 seeds, because I have been playing a lot of Free Enterprise in the off-season between the tournaments, and I needed a break before we got into tournament season. So I've been trying to limit how much I've been playing, just like, 1 seed, maybe 2 seeds every couple days, and then a couple touch-ups on some strats and stuff like Kane Thunderstruck if I'm not feeling as comfortable on them as I once was. Well, I say 15, although I've been doing a lot of async races, and I didn't count those.
Oh.
Yes, because those don't count. No, they do. They absolutely count.
Yeah, they 100% count. I've done less than 10 seeds that haven't been rolled by somebody else, or that haven't been rolled for a race. But I have been doing a whole bunch of races, but I'm sure that some people have been seeing in the community.
Well, was there anything else you had to say about this particular seat? Because there's a lot of weird stuff going on here, so if there's any insights that you have, we'd be happy to hear them.
Oh no, it was a very interesting one. Like, watching through that spoiler log at the end, you have both the Pinktail and the Hook and the Legend Sword gated by the Moon. But then you also have the only Fusoya and the Twin Harp gated by that Odin. And then you have Mylon C just sitting there in Biscay for you. Like, there's a lot of things to overlook super easily in this seed, and I'm fortunate to have stumbled upon a decent enough path through. It was definitely a fun one, though. And thank you, Solaris, for
Thank you so much for running it. You did absolutely stellarly,
Oh, of course.
and you've done very nice, very, very interesting strat that I feel like I don't get to see very often. I don't know about the rest of chat, but I haven't seen a Thunderstruck Odin in like a year, probably.
It's one of the cooler strats when it's executed properly, and I'm glad that I was able to get it first try. But that should just about do it if you guys have no more questions. Thank you very much for putting on this show. And I look forward to watching it back and seeing all the commentary and all that chat has to offer.
Well, we definitely look forward to watching you run. So thank you very much for giving us a show to commentate over.
Of course, anytime. Till then, have a fantastic rest of the night.
And thank you, X Pancras. Everyone, if you liked what you saw from him, go ahead and give him a follow here on Twitch. Meanwhile, I do want to give a shout out to all the folks behind the scenes who do all the work to help put this on. Solaris3, who rolled this wonderful seed and is our restreamer for the night, and Twisted Flags, pushing the buttons, keeping track of everything, and the one who was in my group back in Threema Zone that kicked my booty, but I still love you, Twisted Flags.
Twisted Flags, a very accomplished runner, also a very accomplished tracker, showing us absolutely everything that we need to know tonight, not missing a single beat, and keeping us honest with ourselves on what has and has not been found inside of this seed. Not to mention, it looks really cool when he clicks on an objective button and it blinks into existence.
So Moonboy's Wolf just got his final objective. That will be his Fusoya, so he will be on his way shortly. Mekalink is on Christmas right now. Dr. Cossack has everything at this point in time. I think he's
got the pink tail, I think. Oh no, he's going to. What's he doing right now?
He's doing Cave Magnus.
Magnus Cave. He's doing Magnus Cave. Okay.
Yeah.
Mekalink getting some really nice Big Bang nerfs off here. Go ahead, queuing Silk Web up for there's the shake. Silk Web should be going up in just a second. There it is. A beautiful nerf Big Bang. Hopefully going to be taking that Tela out with the nuke. Nope, hitting the Yang instead. Yeah, it's alright. He's got the HP for it.
Oh, he zerked his Rosa. Okay, I didn't know he was triple zerking this. And okay,
That is going to be horrifying.
that's actually, I was like, okay, what's he doing? Oh, okay. I mean, it is not the safe way to do it, but it's...
Yeah, and if the Tela falls, that could spell bad news bears for the Yang, who will be soon quick to fall afterwards. And it looks like down goes Tela. Not quite a mop, not quite a broom, just an old man on the floor. Taking a lot of hits.
This is going to be rough. I don't know if his script will black hole next. I think he's really got to hope for a black hole next. I don't remember.
That was two that was two big bangs. I think that is followed by a black hole, right? Or is it a third big bang?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's a shake.
Oh, there's a shake. It could be. I mean, black hole starts out with a shake as well, so we can't really speak too soon here. Don't want to accidentally doom him to certain demise.
He's pumping out quite a bit of damage though at this point. I mean, he's just going to town. He might be pushing him over the threshold at this point. Yeah,
it is true. He's been getting way more hits in than Christomus has been able to actually do shakes. So, oh my goodness, we've been rated by so many people. Thank you, Flurry14 with the rating party of 2 and Possum Morpheus with the rating party of 5.
Yeah, there's a tip and there's a second shake without a big bang. So yeah,
so it's gonna be rocks. It's gonna be rocks falling. Rosa, being that third attacker, probably carried him to victory here with some really high value swing or shots, I should say.
This is super nervous. Oh no.
That's a big bang. It's gonna be an unnerfed one. Could that be a wipe?
That is a wipe. Oh no, Mecha Link.
That is a wipe.
That's
Well, certainly,
that's
certainly is not a
rough.
good. That was very late into the fight there, so that's actually not the best thing that you want to see. Switch up the party. Maybe gonna try to do some. Not sure.
Meanwhile, Moonblaze Wolf has already started his, so he'll be able to pass Mecha Link up if he can hold still. Okay, Artemis arrows. I can see. I mean, he's really set up. It looks like Moonblaze is also trying to get some attacks in with his Rosa as well. Cossack, meanwhile, gets his final objective done and will be on his way. Will be right on Mecha Link's toes.
Depending on how Moonblaze takes care of this fight, it could be a neck and neck race here between these three runners if he's not able to secure this kill easily. Dr. Cossack does just have the pass, and he finished Cave Magnus last, so he's going to have a very good opportunity to just kind of like walk in and steal the show if he's able to get some good crits or something like that off with that Paladin.
Meanwhile, Moonblaze is just rolling solid on this Christmas. No real weaknesses. He's in complete control of this right now.
Oh yeah, the flow of this fight is going 100% into the favor of our friend Moonblaze here, who has a very good strat set up right now. He's got nukes going off on the Fasoya, he's got a couple of Zerkers in the back, and then Rosa is either throwing out cures or elixirs whenever she needs to. This fight is as good as done. There's always a possibility that one of the nukes doesn't, or that one of the big bangs gets through and it's able to shake the party up a little bit, but I think as long as he's got at least the Yang and the Kain alive, he should be able to finish this fight out.
I'm a little worried for that Rosa. A high unnerfed big bang could really would really take her out, but that's kind of a low % chance at this point in time. I like his position.
Yeah, his position is very nice here. There is also the possibility that it could drop the Fasoya, which takes out a big source of damage, could prolong the fight a little bit more than he would like. But a quick life and elixir on the Fasoya will pick him right back up as long as that Rose is able to live through whatever her this Zeromus' next attack ends up being, if he gets another attack even, because there's a lot of damage coming out.
And I mean, look at this. We have, I mean, this is how close this race was, despite the varied directions, and everyone kind of split almost immediately. By the end, Pancras was our overall winner, but Moonblaze Wolf, Mecha Blink, and Dr. Cossack all ultimately in the Zeromus fight at effectively the same time in the race, despite the crazy.
Interesting decision by Moonblaze to go ahead and throw another nuke onto the Fasoya with a with the wall attached to him. I'm surprised he didn't just go for the nerf to try to make sure that he doesn't get unlucky, because there is a chance. There's always a chance.
All right, how's this Big Bang looking then?
Here it comes. It is not nerfed. It could spell certain demise for this Fasoya, but we have yet to see. Barely.
Close.
Barely. But I think that does give him the win on this fight here. A little bit of health coming back, but it's going to very quickly get canceled out by a little bit more damage from the Yang there. So yeah.
And
There's the rocks. Goodbye, Fasoya. We hardly knew ye, unless he is immune to that, which he is.
He dodged and is reflecting a nuke.
That old man's got some quick legs. He's able to get out of the way of all those rocks, showing those young timers what's what. Now the real challenge here is going to be seeing if he can get that Christmas fight done before Fasoya dies to fire damage.
He's done. 12 HP.
Nice, 12 HP. Good game from Blaze. Very quickly going to be followed up by Dr. Cossack, Mecha Link. Very surprised at the route that this run took. I thought it could still be a possibility of seeing a lot more checks get done before we were able to finally see this Z fight get done, but they blew it and they were able to get to the end pretty quickly here. So it looks like Moonblaze Wolf. Looks like Moonblaze Wolf is finishing with a time of 1 hour, 41 minutes, and 47 seconds, which puts him in 8th place. All of our runners so far are still in the top 10 running. Unless two people are managed to finish within 10 seconds of Dr. Cossack and Mechalink, we could see all of our runners finishing in the top 10, putting them above average, I believe, or not above average, but above half of the other runners here today.
I'm loving this setup with the flags, with 4 of the 5 objectives. I mean, we did 3 of the 4 before. This is just a really fantastic setup with the 3 static that are all the long quests, so to speak, plus Cave Magnus, which, let's face it, we all want you to do Cave Magnus every time anyway. But this is really unique because there are multiple ways to win these sorts of races with these objectives, exactly how they're set up. This is going to be a very fun tournament coming up. Meanwhile, joining us, Moonblaze Wolf. GG's.
How the heck are you?
Hey, thanks. Hope everybody's enjoyed the race. Woof, looks like that was a pretty tight finish there between me and everybody else on Restream.
Yeah, the rest of the Restream team, or not the rest of the Restream team, we're here doing the show, but the rest of the Restream runners are getting their fights out of the way right now, and you managed to finish before him, so well played on your part. It was a very tight fight. I saw that Fasoya get down to 12 HP, but it was towards the end there, so that room was all but said and done.
Got the Cure 4 queued up with Rosa, which was pretty clutch, considering how things came out there at the very end when I got to Meteor Phase. So yeah, it was fun. That was a really fun race. I love this format. It's like such a good, it's just such a good like competitive, but also just really fun flag set. You have to make so many interesting decisions every race. I think it's really cool.
Meanwhile, Dr. Cossack has also finished at 143.58, so he'll be joining us. Meanwhile, Mechalink, who of the 3 of you who were all in Zero Miss at the same time, Mechalink actually started first, and he took a wipe to a bad Big Bang roll. So it's unfortunate at this point in time, but it looks like Mechalink also just finished. Man, it was close. 144.31, just less than a minute.
And it looks like we have Dr. Cossack finishing with an hour 43.58 in 11th place, and I didn't see the time for the final one, but they did finish in 13th place. Mechalink did finish in 13th place, so we had top 15 finishes all around. If I don't know how often this gets done, but we could have a little bit of like a group conversation about this seed, because the 3 of you finished basically one after the other. So
I'm down.
Until they arrive, though, I do have a couple of questions, or not a couple of questions, but I do just have a question. For these flag sets, you're talking, we all know that these flag sets are pretty, not necessarily unforgiving. I mean, let's be real. They're not Kata seeds, but they still aren't exactly the easiest seeds to get into. I mean, the items sell for a lot less. You can't get the bonus XP on your low-level party members, so... as far as the difficulty of these flags is concerned, do you think all the flags are going to be as easy as this one, or do you think that this is one of the harder ones that is put in front of you?
I didn't think this was a particularly easy seed. It definitely had some easy bosses, especially up on the moon. But I mean, I thought it was tricky. I think the skill testing, it's maybe not going to be so obvious. Like, you're not going to see a lot of runners like run into a brick wall of like something that they have to get through, unless it's just a really bad hook seed. But you are going to see a lot of decisions about like how you grind, what characters you take, how you sort of plan long term. Especially with the XP no boost and the buy flags on the characters, you're definitely going to have to kind of be thinking ahead quite a bit as far as how you're going to get XP, what you want your party to look like when you get to Z, all those kinds of things. So I thought this was a very good showcase of the flag set. I think, you had stuff on the moon, you had stuff all over the earth, you had a lot of different ways you could go, boss hunts, character hunts. It was just, it was really good.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with the fact that this seed was quite tricky, a little technical in some aspects. We actually did get to see a Thunderstruck kill on stream from, top left, Pankraz.
Pankraz, yep. Meanwhile, we're also joined by Mechalink. GG's, Mecha. I feel super bad. That wipe on Z.
I mean, I saw it coming when I got the nuke hit the wrong person. Like, if I were playing more aggressively, I would have reset the second that happened, because that happening basically guaranteed that I would wipe. So, but yeah, I mean, I felt really good about the seed, and then the Pancras finished, and so did a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah, Pancras, to be fair, did get he got a very, very good early kill on that Odin with the Thunderstruck strategy, so probably like a half hour in, he kind of just soared ahead of the competition. It was a very outstanding move. But everyone did finish relatively closely to him, actually. I thought it would be a little bit more skewed, but you guys pulled forward pretty quickly.
So the thing about that Thunderstruck kill is that you kind of saw the reverse of that, where I got that item last. There was nowhere else to check. Like, and oh, look, sealed is Sand Ruby, right? Like, so that's a dead end too, right? Like, so either you go to the top of tower or you do nothing, right? Like, so everybody got sent to the moon as a matter of course, right? Like, so there ended up only being kind of like the moon route through the seed, ultimately, because there were 2 required objectives on moon, right? So you had to go through moon to complete the seed no matter what, and everybody got sent to moon because there were, like, unless, like, was Octomom a rabbit hole? Like, that's the only way that people don't get sent to moon.
Right, yeah, I definitely see what you're saying. The run variety here, like, there was a big deviation in the paths that people took, but ultimately it did end up coming down to that Odin fight, because, you know, being a required fight, having 2 objectives locked behind it,
right,
that really kind of secures that lead for you.
Right. No, I mean, and so yeah, it makes sense that Pancras did that, but yeah, like it all kind of came down to eventually you had to go up Keyless Tower because there were no other options available. And the first question is, how long does that take? And then on Moon, right, like, when do you duck out, right? Like, you ended up needing both of the key items on Moon if you wanted to get both of the things off of Moon.
And just to jump in on what Mecca's saying, like, I definitely felt really good about my decision making. I actually did Keyless Tower before I even tried either of the Feymarch bosses. I didn't bother with Sealed Cave at all.
Yeah, same.
So like, you go up Keyless Tower, you find Darkness Crystal. Like, I think I was at maybe like 48 minutes, somewhere in there. Like, you're feeling really good because, like, none of your other options on Earth are particularly great. And you can just go up to the moon and, you know, you can grind. You have a party that's going to be, like, not great, but you'll be able to grind through most things. When we came back and there was 2 key items on the moon, you're like, phew, right? Like, there is you have to go to the moon, right? Like, we're not completely destroyed here, right? Like when you see that second, right? Like, when you saw Hook, right? Like, when you saw Hook and Legend Sword, you're like, phew, right? Like, we had to go moon. Great, right? Yeah, like, I would say for me, it was just, you know, because you didn't get the items, but, like, I think the specific decision that I felt really good about was leaving after Pan, because I left the top 2 checks. Like, I got Tower Key, I got Pan, I got way more action left on the Earth now. I can actually take care of those Feymarch spots. I can take care of that Luca Cave, no problem. And then, you know, you start getting the key items through the moon and you realize the moon is required. Like, you're feeling really, really good about your routing at that point.
So where was Fusoya then? I assume you Fusoya solved?
Baron.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I never found Pinktail.
Pinktail was Bahamut. So that's why I said, like, 2 objectives were on the moon. Right. Because it so happened that Legend Sword via Pan.
Well, Hook was up there too, though.
Right. And then Hook was because of Tower, right? But, like Hook and Pinktail are an objective together. Right?
Yeah, so it's just, like, really neat. Like, some of those routing decisions felt really good. Like, the decision I thought I felt really bad about personally was, like, my grind. Like, my Warlock grind did not go well at all. So it's just neat. So, like, you know, you get to do a practice seed like this. You get a lot of feedback. You know, you figure out what works, what doesn't, and it helps you get ready for the real thing starting next week. So this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was nice. It just, like I said, like, I felt pretty good, and then kind of like, ugh, right? Like, everybody finished a little ahead of me, and then, like, even before the wipe, like, everybody finished a little ahead of me, and it's just kind of like, oof, and then, but
So
it was a great race tonight. They all played well.
Yeah, I bet it was
all finished.
I bet it was good to watch, given the kind of the finishes.
It did get a little confusing here and there because there was a lot of deviation, and some of the key items were, breaking the sequence so hard like that when everyone else is kind of going along the same path does lead to a little bit of a weird situation as far as who's going to do what. But no, overall, I feel like it was a great race. I don't have anything else to say. Vitasia?
Well, I was going to have one last question before we try to wrap things up. How excited are you guys for LaliHo League?
Pretty excited. I'm, last big tournament, I made it to brackets and promptly 06'd. I think Moonblaze felt similar pain. I remember correctly.
Yeah, definitely. For me, I'm also really excited. I haven't been playing a lot of FE lately, so I'm looking forward to just having an excuse to play more. And I think, like I said, it's a really fun, really interesting. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Really good flag sets all the way through. So, I think it's going to be great. And just there's so many good players. Every single person that finished ahead of me is not a surprise whatsoever. And you're just going to see so much good free enterprise for the next couple months starting next week. So
yeah, and hopefully we can both improve on our performances a little.
Awesome. Well, thank you both. This is Mecha Link and Moonblaze Wolf. Thank you guys so much. Also,
thanks for doing the restream tonight. Take care, everybody.
Oh, you are very welcome. And LaliHo League 2021, it is something to look forward to for the future, but right now we're about the present. And currently we are planning a raid for RPG Limit Break. They're going to be running a randomizer race for the first Final Fantasy game. So if you couldn't get enough Final Fantasy, we're going to be heading over there tonight. So get ready for what could be another very interesting race, much like the one we had tonight, but with a little bit of a different coat of paint, so to speak. Mecha, thank you so much for joining us. I would have said the same thing. Where do you go? Either way, GG's to all the runners tonight. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out, and I hope you all have a splendid evening and a good rest of your week.